Hey guys, this is Jeff Conti, your YouTube knife mentor. I've got a video for you that's a little bit controversial, but I don't care. This video is going to be about how I price a knife. And it's controversial because some people will argue and other people, they have their own opinions and I just don't care. This is what I do. And so if you guys find this useful, great. If it's not useful to you, hey, no harm, no foul. Use what you can use, right? That's what this is. That's what mentorship is. Show you what I do, give you some advice. If you ask me for more, I'll give you more. If you like what I'm doing, great. If you don't like what I'm doing, no problem. Okay, so these first three items really are just kind of a lined out example of what it costs to make a knife. And I have determined from my method of making knives, the materials I use and the waste that I produce. Sometimes I waste very little, sometimes I waste a lot, it just depends. And some of the supplies and some of the tools that I use. Now, bear in mind with tools, you use them over and over, but they do run out, especially files. I go through quite a few files, so using dull old files is just bad. You're wasting your time. I'm not saying you should always buy more. Some of the files you can resharpen by using sulfuric acid. There's a lot of videos out there on how to do that, so if you're interested, go ahead. But some of the files you can't do that with, so you do wind up having to replace the files, and some things don't ever wear out, like sanding blocks and stuff like that. Probably your drill press, your knife sander, whatever wear out, although you'll probably upgrade, but that's a choice, right? But some things do wear out over time. But in general, this is what I consider to be my cost. In general, it costs me between $70 and $100 to make a knife. That's what I think it cost me. That's the money out of my pocket. Of course, I'm guessing on some of this stuff, like how long a drill press will last or whatever. Most of my drill presses are in the 50 to 80-year-old category, the old Rockwell drill press and whatnot. Some of them are relatively new, probably 15 years old. One of them I bought when I was a boy, and I still have it. It still works. And I'm 57, so that's been probably, mid 40 years, So anyway, 50 to $100, 70 to $100, something like that is what it cost me to make a knife. But here's how I do it, okay? First of all, I'm going to determine what the base knife price is going to be. So let's say in general it cost me this amount of money and my reputation is this, or maybe I have a niche, right? I'm a retired Special Forces NCO. You guys know us as Green Berets, but that's not our name. That's a nickname. Our actual name is Special Forces. And so I have quite a few of my friends. There are several thousand of them that I pretty much sell exclusively to them. On occasion, there's some local folks that want something, or people that I've gotten to know over the years. But in general, so, if my lowest price of any knife I'm going to make, in general, not specialty knives, just the line of knives that I offer is going to be $250. That's the lowest price. Then that's what I start with, okay? And I don't worry about identifying all this stuff and what does it cost me and then an hourly wage or blah, blah. I don't do that. I say, okay, my base price is $250 or $350, whatever my base price is going to be. And then when I add things, let's say I add Cerakote, okay, $50. Or if I'm going to go from micarta, I'm going to go to, let's say, ebony, $50. Or if I'm going to do a narrow tang with a fitted handguard, that's $20 or $30. Or maybe instead of a satin finish on my blade, I'm going to do a mirror polish, or I'm going to do a brushed finish. So there's a lot of variety of upgrades for a knife order that you can do, right? That's what I do is I start with a base price and then I increase it from there based on what the customer wants. If they want a special engraving or a special etching or something like that. But I'd kind of like you to go through some of these things you might not think about when you're estimating what it costs you to make a knife. You can just use my estimation, 70 to $100, and you're probably pretty close unless you're using you know, one of those little grip clamps, you know, and a file to make your entire knife. You know, then you send it out for heat treat. That's depending on what the heat treater charges you, 10, 20, $30. But for me, I have a lot of tools, a lot of supplies and equipment, and so for me, it's about $70 to $80 to make a knife. So I'm going to show you my actual order form. I built this in Excel, and everything shows up down here at the bottom what the final cost is. Right here you'll see I have a discount. So for the Special Forces guys, for my family members, for church members, for fire or police or general military, and then community service, I always give a discount for any of those things. For SF guys and for family, I always give a $100 discount. Boom. So if the base price is $350, now it's $250, right? But I put it in here and it subtracts it from all of these items and it tells me what I'm actually going to charge the guy or girl. So church members, those are usually $50. Same with fire, police, and general military personnel, and community service. All those folks, I usually give a $50 discount. I think that's good. I really like supporting other people and what they're doing. So here's my basic base price, $350, and that's for any of the knives in my line. Again, if I'm gonna do something special, all bets are off. Okay, if I design from start to finish a knife for you, it's not going to be a base price of $350. Okay, so here's the steels I'm going to use. I don't charge any different for any one of those, but here are the surface finishes that I use for my knives, and I add $20 if I do a brushed finish. I add $50 if I do a mirror polish or an acid stone wash, and I add $50 for the Cerakote. So let's say I get a guy and he says, okay, I want Cerakote, then I of course delete these other two, and then this price goes down by $70. So that's why I like Excel. It takes care of all that for me. I do add shipping and, mailing with insurance and packaging. I always buy insurance for my knives, and whatever the value of the knife is, that's the amount of insurance I buy. And so you keep track of this. If something happens to your knife and it gets lost in the mail, whatever, this becomes your proof to the United States Postal Service that you should be reimbursed for the $650 that a customer sent you. You may have their check as well. You may want to, deposit it and attach it here, or whatever you want to do there. I have yet to have that problem whenever I insurance. I also buy my own boxes. Here's one right here. If you want to buy your own boxes, they're like between $5 and $6 or $7 for a custom-made box, and so the box maker, based out of Washington State, has an online boxing thing where you can go through and just design your own box, the size, the material, the coatings, and all that stuff. So anyway, but that's an additional cost, right? So I always add packaging, because sometimes I add padding and whatnot inside. So that'll cost me, let's say it cost me $5 or $6 plus the padding and whatnot. I just round everything up, by the way. I don't ever do $5.80 or whatever. That's just baloney to me. So some of the finishes on my knife handles, whether it's polyurethane or texturing. And then for my exotic woods, I always just charge $50. Doesn't matter what the exotic wood is, I charge $50. But all of my card is, I don't charge anything extra. That's all covered in the base price. So regular tube pins or 1/8 inch pins, I don't charge anything. If I buy Mosaic pins, or if I buy EDM pins from Alexi out of Siberia, I charge $50 right up front, because I only get 2 pins out of it. So, and then if I'm going to do a Kydex holster, I don't charge any fees. But if I do a leather holster, it's either a pancake or a hanging holster, it's $50 because of my time mostly. So in the Kydex colors, you know, there's no charge there. If I'm going to do a narrow tang with a precision fitted handguard that's soldered in place, that's $50. If I'm going to do etching, it's between $20 and $30 per etch. So let's say the guy wants crossed arrows with his name over it. The crossed arrows is $20, I'm sorry, and his name is $30 because I have to make that just for him. The crossed arrows, I usually have a couple of those on hand. So anyway, that's the basics. If you're interested in what this is brass, nickel, silver, or stainless steel. So let's see, anything else here? Oh, yeah, I already told you about my discounts. So that's the basics on how I price a knife. That's where the information comes from that I've gathered over the years. This is my personal spreadsheet. I'll be happy to send you an email with an attachment of the Excel spreadsheet if you're interested in using it. You can, of course, modify it to fit what you're going to do. So if you have any questions or comments, you like it, don't like it, you know, whatever, I don't care. I'm not in this for the money. I'm just doing it to help guys out. Also, as always, if you see any advertisements on my videos, that's not me. I am not monetizing any of my videos. Let me know so I can get a hold of YouTube and make sure they don't just start adding stuff. So that's it. This is Jeff Conti, your YouTube knife mentor. Go out and have fun making a knife.